The British film and television industry has created many great stars, but there are some whom we've left behind. They had a meteoric rise, but also suffered a merciless fall. Barry Evans was best known for his role as Jeremy Brown in the sitcom Mind Your Language. He soon became one of the most recognizable faces of the 60s and 70s, but eventually the roles stopped coming, and over 20 years since his death, we still don't know what happened. Join Facts Verse UK to learn about what happened to Barry Evans the night he died. Barry Joseph Evans was born June 18, 1943, in Guildford, Surrey. As a baby, he was orphaned and grew up in different orphanages, all operated by the Shaftesbury Homes. Interestingly enough, one of his most famous roles was that of a character orphaned as a child. As a teen, he participated in school plays, and his peers and the school staff praised his talent. It was quite clear from an early age he was destined to become a great actor. After graduating from school, he moved to London to study acting. He first attended the Italia Conti Academy and later honed his craft at the Central School of Speech and Drama. From his time in drama school, he showed he was a versatile actor who could take on a variety of roles. Naturally, as he pursued his career, he wanted to act in some of the best films that Britain had to offer. He began his career in 1961 when he was 18. But for a few years, he only got the occasional bit part in a film or TV show. He'd appear in one episode and move on to the next. His first major role was in the 1968 movie Here We Go Round the Mulberry Bush, which was his first starring role in a film. He played Jamie McGregor, a young man who was eager to lose his virginity as fast as possible. While the premise might seem crass, one must remember that in the late 60s and 70s, sex comedies were becoming rather popular, and this genre helped Barry launch his career. The film was a success, and Barry slowly started receiving more work in television, though once again it was always a small role and only in one episode. His next role was a supporting one in the drama film Alfred the Great. But in 1969, he got his big break in television when he was cast as Michael Upton in the sitcom Doctor in the House, based on the writings of Richard Gordon. The sitcom lasted for 26 episodes and was enough to make Barry Evans a well-known actor. He switched his focus mostly to television and began getting more roles. He later reprised his role as Michael Upton as well. In 1971, he had a lead role alongside Susan George in the thriller Die Screaming Mary Ann. This was a huge success and brought him even more attention. In 1976, he played the lead role of Joe in the sex comedy film Adventures of a Taxi Driver. This has now become his most well-known film and is a cult favorite. He also received praise for his role in another sex comedy, Under the Doctor. Barry Evans' rise to fame. Barry's big break came when he was cast as Jeremy Brown in Mind Your Language. In the show, he played an English teacher who teaches the language to a diverse group of immigrants. Hilarity ensues due to miscommunication, language barriers, and culture clashes. Plus, on top of the stress of dealing with the students, he also has to deal with the stern headmistress, Miss Courtney. The show ran for 42 episodes from 1977 to 1986. This was the show that allowed Barry to show us everything he had. He had impeccable comic timing and could still stand out even when working alongside an ensemble cast. He was the star of the show, and it became such a huge hit, it was remade in India and in the US. And in fact, the original show was a huge hit, not just in the UK, but also overseas. The show also made him even more of a sex symbol, a status he had already received due to his role in Adventures of a Taxi Driver. This was the role that got him more offers. The other great role he took on the show, Crown Court. In this role, he showed he could also take on a serious drama and be seen as an actor rather than just Mr. Brown. In one episode of Mind Your Language, it's mentioned that his character was orphaned at a young age. One wonders if this was always part of the script or written to reflect Barry's actual life story. By the end of the show, Barry had become one of the biggest TV stars in Britain. Yet the same show that made him a star would also put an end to his career. As he grew older, his boyish looks didn't work for new roles. After the show ended, he had only one more credit in a supporting role in the 1993 film The Mystery of Edwin Drood. His other popular role in the 80s was his supporting role in the comedy series Legacy of Murder, which lasted for 6 episodes and 1 season. Barry's fall. Mind Your Language was Barry's best work. It was the show that defined him and thus became the last show we saw him on. But few people know the story of his struggle before Mind Your Language. He was struggling to find regular work on television. While he had his 2 successful films, he wanted to do something meatier. He was occasionally working in the theater, but his financial struggles meant he occasionally had to claim benefits. He called up London Network Television to ask them if there was more work, and they were able to offer him the role of Mr. Brown in Mind Your Language. While the series saved his career, it shows us he was already going through the struggles of just having a few projects now and then. After his final film role in 1993, he couldn't find more acting work. He began to work as a minicab driver. One wonders if he felt this would be a permanent departure from acting or if he was planning a comeback. According to his IMDb profile, Barry amassed a total of 27 credits from an acting career that began in 1961 and ended in 93. What happened to Barry the night he died? The death of Barry Evans still remains a mystery. On February 9, 1997, the police went to visit the 53-year-old Barry at his home. He had reported his car had been stolen the day before. The police were visiting him to let them know that his car had been recovered. It was stated that his car was stolen by 3 young men. However, they were never able to give him the news. The police found Barry Evans lying dead on the floor. A coroner's report showed he had received a large blow to the head. There was also a high level of alcohol in his system. An open packet of aspirin tablets was found on the floor. The price tag on the tablets hadn't shown a decimalized price tag. This means that the packet was issued before 1971. It can be rightly assumed that at the time of his death, these aspirin tablets were at least 26 years old. Yet it was also concluded he hadn't consumed them. As a result, suicide was ruled out, though a will was found on the table next to his body. It's been stated this will was written a few days before he died. There was still the mystery of the blow to his head. Later, an 18-year-old was arrested on suspicion of being involved. However, due to insufficient evidence, this person was released. The person stated he'd visited Barry on the day of his death and left the house at 3 a.m. Barry's house had also been robbed and his credit card stolen and his phone line cut. It's been suggested Barry made a call at 5 a.m. on the day of his death and that it was he who cut the phone lines. It's also known he had taken to drinking heavily and often in the days leading to his death. So, was it a suicide or a murder? Was the car theft just bad luck, or was he a target of this gang of young men? The death of Barry Evans, 26 years later, remains a mystery. Author Daniel Ward is writing a biography of the actor, and perhaps he'll soon give us some answers. Now it's time to hear from you. Are you a fan of Barry Evans? Did you know about the tragic details of his career decline and his mysterious death? Let us know in the comments section below.